Welcome back to the Live Worthy podcast, where we urge and equip you to live a life worthy of the calling you've received, for you have been called by God. I'm your host, Erin, and I'm super excited to have my dear friend, I could say 1,000 things about you, Debbie Price. I love you so much. And I feel like this whole Worthy podcast, everything that's happening, it really has your fingerprints everywhere. Mm-hmm. So you're vital to the ministry and all that God is doing. And so I'm excited that everybody gets to hear from you and meet you today. And so you have quite a few accolades. Your name is very well known. We're going to talk about that today a little bit, which makes legacy a big part of who you are. We have known each other for several years. We've been in and out of different circles, yes. And then the Lord brought us together in a divine way. And that's really what I think our listeners and viewers need to hear, because sometimes we don't always get to see all the ways God is orchestrating our lives and connecting us. Mm-hmm. So the first question I want to ask you really is, before we get into all that, I want to set up our viewers and our listeners to know what they're about to receive from you. So Debbie, I've been asking all of our podcasters when they come on, what is it that you're receiving from the kingdom of heaven that you, when you walk into a room, you release on earth?
Well, what I hope I do is release his peace. I hope that when I walk into a room that I bring his peace with me and wisdom. I hope that I release wisdom when I walk into a room as well. So we're going to be point just down to the brass tacks. I think it's that. I think that's what I bring.
Yeah.
And then leadership.
Yeah.
Leadership.
Yeah. Every time I've been in your presence, I feel that peace, that you're also really fun.
Oh, that too.
You're just a fun time. You're just a good time and easy to be with person. You really are super easy to be with.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So you've had quite a stint in women's ministry over the years.
I have 30 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
And you've been in the same place for not in the same place, but you've lived in the region. Your family has deep roots in the region.
Yes. I'm born and raised right here in our region, right here in our area. So deep roots.
Yeah.
Deep roots.
And your family too. And so that really,
yes.
I think is important, because so much of this region can be very transient, people coming in and out. Yes. We have a big military base and all that, but to have roots, that's a big part of what Worthy is desiring. Is we're not just bringing big names into conferences or spaces or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that, but we really wanted to be connected with the people that were in our area, so that I could run into you at the grocery store or, at the football game or whatever. It's like, these aren't far off people, right? Demystify some of the church culture that has become like celebrity.
Right.
It's not to do that. It's to hear, what is the Spirit of the Lord saying for this region, and he's dispensing it to his people.
Amen.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you're one of those, and you have been for a long time.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So how did you get into ministry?
I got into ministry, honestly, as a young girl. I watched my mom. And my mom was constantly having women over to the house, and they would do Bible studies, discipleship. And honestly, even at the time, we weren't really in church, but my mom just knew to do this. And so she would bring women. We lived in this little apartment community, duplexes actually, and she would have women come over, and they would study the Bible, and she would disciple them and lead them to Christ. And then when all that was done, you move the coffee table over and you have a dance party. And so I grew up.
I didn't know that was the second part.
That's the second part. You have to have the dance party.
All the time.
Yes. So so I grew up watching my mom do this. And then once we were involved in church, she was definitely the Bible study teacher and the women's ministry leaders and things. So I was privileged to watch that. So as I became older and became a mom and things like that, I moved into that realm as well because I was always tugged and had a place to want to serve and minister to women.
Mm.
So that's how I started out as a Bible study leader. I then moved into leading the Bible studies and then directing the ministry itself, and
Mm.
so it's kind of just grown from there.
Yeah, and as a result, it's like there's not a I don't everyone knows who you are.
I
'Cause
don't know
you've
about
just
that.
you've just been so connected and been in ministry for so long that people, and I don't mean that in a way of like you're famous. I mean, if there's something that you're known for, it's that you're very trustworthy.
Mm,
You are trustworthy, you're a good leader. You really women develop under your care and under your eyes. And under your teaching, and you really do walk with women, which is significant, I think, because you have two sons.
I do,
Yeah.
and I always ask the Lord about that. When am I going to get my daughter? I did have several miscarriages, and
Mm,
I was like, well, when am I going to have a daughter? But then the Lord has shown me all my spiritual daughters, and I have
mm,
a lot,
you
and
do.
I love it, and I love it, and I've watched them grow up to be moms and fantastic women leaders, and so the Lord has allowed me to do that, and so I do have spiritual daughter. I have daughters
Yeah.
in the kingdom for sure.
I think when we talk about your assignments in the context of worthy, we say the Lord has given us these four assignments, and we've talked about a few of them already, but when you're coming, we say marriage, motherhood, marketplace, and ministry. You've We're always in all of them, even when we're not married. We're married to the Lord,
Right.
all that. But I think what you've held on to in that motherhood scenario is that you recognize it not just in motherhood over your biological
Absolutely
sons,
right.
but in these spiritual daughters. And I think you hold that so beautifully. Like you're such a testimony to
Oh,
that
thank you.
truth. Yeah. Um, so you have these spiritual daughters, and that's actually how I kind of got to meet you. Well, how we really got to know each other, right? So, we were in Ministers Connection for Women together, and the Lord had downloaded this piece about worthy.
Yeah.
And then I got your information because your church was a part of
We were a church plant.
you're a church
Hmm.
plant, and somebody had asked me if they could use our church, and I'm talking to our staff about it, and they're like, "You know what? Um call this other church and call Debbie Price." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I know her from Ministers Connection. I'll call her." And the Lord had just downloaded all this with Worthy, and we had only had a couple conversations.
Hmm.
And then the day that I called you, I was feeling like super defeated
Mm.
and really like an imposter syndrome. Like who I felt like the enemy just kept going like, "Who do you think you are that God would tell you to
Mm.
do
Yeah.
this?" And I called you about something completely different.
Something I had no clue about. I'm like, I don't even know why you're calling me because I have no say in that whatsoever. I can pass the message on, but
Mm,
I knew, yeah, I couldn't help you
yeah.
with your question. But that's when I said, hey, but about this thing that you're
Mm,
wanting to do called Worthy, tell me about that. And it just had struck a chord. And I think we became soul sisters at that
yeah.
moment through that conversation. Our
Yeah.
spirits just connected.
Well, because the Lord had used you in such a strategic way. Because I think I was on the verge of like, I, I don't know if this is going to happen, and you said something so profound to me because it was knit into your heart, and I want to ask you about that. But you
Yeah.
said, "I want to help with this. I'll do anything. I'll mop your floors," and
Yeah.
I was like, "What?"
I just wanted to be in on the ground floor.
Yeah, and obviously I did. I mean, there I would mop floors. It was just the fact that you saw what God was doing. You confirmed something in my spirit that I thought I was crazy for believing.
Mm, mm,
And that has really put us together,
yeah.
knit our hearts together in a way that really God designed. So tell me about why that was so. such a moment for you that you were like ready to talk about in that
So
time?
in about 2018, I don't remember if it was 2018 or 2019, the Lord had deposited in my heart that I wanted the women of our area to
Mm-hmm.
come together, not just the ladies of my church and the ladies of that, or of this other church, and we're sister churches, let's come together. I wanted everybody,
Mm.
all the women to come together. And I didn't exactly know what that was going to look like. So I called my friend Chrissy. I said, "Hey, Chrissy, I got this idea." And she goes, "You know what? I want to do that too." And so we got together and we started praying and we're like, well, who else can we invite? So we invite these two other young girls to come with us who are nearly 9 months pregnant. And they're like, "Yes, we will do this with you." Great. We don't know what we're doing, but let's come together and let's do it anyway. So we started meeting. We came up with we branded it, we came up with a name for it. And then I invited women to come to my house, and we had over 30 something women show up at my house to find
Wow.
out about this thing about how to gather women
Mm.
in our area to come together and just share our hearts with one another.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on in your life? What's going on at your church? And this is actually before I even met before Ministers Connection
Yeah,
came about.
it was.
That wasn't even around yet.
Yeah.
And so um we met, the four of us met for a year and planned and calculated and strategized as to what we wanted this to look like. And COVID hit
Mm.
and everything stopped. And I
Mm.
was like, "Lord, what about the vision? What about the vision?" And it wasn't long after that that it was actually in that time that we became part of this church plant. So even me being the director of women's ministry was now gone.
Mm.
And now I'm in this church plant with 20 people. And I'm like, now what am I gonna, where's my sphere of influence?
Wow.
And so I got connected with Ministers Connection. We had our
Yeah.
conversation and it struck the chord.
Mm.
And I was like, that's it. That's it. That's why I was like, let me sweep the floors, let me clean the toilets. I just need to be in on the ground floor of this because I know this is what the Lord wants
Oh.
for our region. I knew it without a shadow of a doubt.
And that is so true to who you are as a person, just very much an advocate, a supporter. You're great in leadership as well. But I think you're just like your key focus is and primary focus is to listen and obey what the Spirit of the Lord is saying. And I think I just felt like that connection rung so true to me and what I just needed in my heart to know, like, if Debbie is hearing this, then I know it's from
Well, I knew you knew how to
Ugh.
make it go.
Mm.
That's the piece I didn't have.
Hmm.
But in our conversation, it rang in my heart. She knows how to make this go.
Mm.
And so that's why I was like, okay, I want to be here.
And I discovered later that there was like a word that was given to you about that, right?
There was, and I tried to reject it because it was like, "No, that doesn't go with my vision."
It's
And it was that I would come alongside the one that was making it happen. And, now those are my words that I
sure.
put to what was said over me, but I was like, "No, I'm the one putting this together. So,
Mm.
no, I'm the one that's making it go," all the while really not knowing how to make it go.
Mm.
And so that's was another piece that when you started talking about it and I felt within my spirit, you had the same goal and vision that I had about gathering the women of our region,
Mhm.
not the world or the nation or anything. And
Yeah,
I mean, I'm hoping this goes all the way, but for
sure.
right now,
Yeah.
our region. And that's when I knew, and the Lord prompted me and said, "Okay, now's the time."
Yeah, because there seems to be something that the Lord really is wanting to do and shift and shape in Tampa.
Absolutely.
So what was cool about that, because you gave me that word, um it really did solidify some things because it would have been easy with all of your experience, all of your knowledge, all of your wisdom, um your influence. It would have been very easy for me when you came in to say, "Okay, I will step down. The one
Mm,
who was supposed to come and sit is now here." And you
yeah.
kept just saying, I'm here alongside you. I'm
Yes.
here alongside you." And that to me was like, whoa, as women, some of those things we tend to like go timid or
Mhm.
just kind of, I don't know, sit back a little bit and go, okay, you go. Deference
Push
is like
other
what,
people forward,
yeah,
because that's what good girls do.
that's right. And you said, no, this is where you belong. And you
Yes.
were so encouraging, and still are, but really critically encouraging in
Mm.
those early moments. And so this is like how you move, I feel like, um in the Lord. It's really something that you're good at because you see legacy. You don't just see like what's
Mhm.
happening right now. You think beyond it. So I want to ask you a little bit about that. So you're really passionate about legacy.
Very.
You cover our legacy. You're the legacy family director for Worthy. We're going to talk about that a little bit, but your name in the region carries a profound legacy. Also, we've shared. So tell us about what legacy means to you. Why is that a word that resonates so deeply within you?
Legacy for me is more than a name. And it's not making a name for myself or making a name for an entity
Mm-hmm.
or anything. Legacy, I look at it as living legacy. What am I doing? What am
Mm,
I participating in? What am I allowing? Where am I going with the Lord that is making impact in my sphere of influence?
mm-hmm.
So I want to be a part of what's going on in my sphere of influence and inspiring and encouraging, especially in this case, women
Mm-hmm.
to find out who they are and then watch them fly when they begin to grow and to mature into what the Lord has designed them to be. And so, my legacy and what legacy really means to me is what am I putting in
Mm,
that is impacting my sphere of influence. And so that's legacy for me. And that's why
mm.
it's important. And it's my living legacy. I get to watch it
Love
play
that.
out. I'm not hoarding things away to give away when I'm died.
Mm,
I don't want a building named after me that can be torn down.
mm.
I want lasting
Lasting
legacy.
fruit, lasting
Yeah.
legacy.
Yeah.
So
That
yeah,
keeps reproducing.
yeah, the seed, because there's seed in it
Yes.
that then falls to the ground as well. So it
Yes.
it just continues to go
Right.
beyond us, right?
Right.
So when we think about living worthy, and we pair that with this idea of an eternal legacy, what is your hope? What do you want women to understand or know or walk in terms of a of living worthy with an eternal legacy? Tell us about that.
So I want them to understand that as they again it's this whole discovery thing. I didn't know who I was at 20.
Mm,
I didn't know who I was at 30. I didn't know who I was at 40 and 50 and now almost 60. So each year I get to experience a new season. So in these seasons, what I want women to understand is as they develop and discover their identity and what the Lord has called them to, that they, as they are walking this out, that they are leaving a legacy.
yeah.
Others are watching them. Even
Mm,
when they think that they're not, even if they're in the stage, they're the 20-something-year-old mom in the children's nursery rocking babies,
mhm,
that in itself is leaving a legacy because you get the opportunity to rock those babies and pray over that future
mm,
generation. That is so impactful. So at each stage, you get the opportunity to create legacy.
mm,
And that's what I want women to know. You don't wait to create your legacy. You don't wait for your platform to come. You
mm.
don't wait. You do it now,
Yeah,
today.
because you see that rocking babies isn't just rocking babies. It is a compassion that you're
Yes.
cultivating. This is how we care for another human,
Yes.
that this matters. It's not
Yes.
build bigger, faster. In the if it's build small, these human connections,
Yes. Mm.
and so that is significant. That's
Yes.
eternal, right? It has
Yes.
eternal value to the Lord.
Yes.
I love
Absolutely.
that. So you have we are learning together in a lot of ways, the things that God is calling us to. And so we had a fun time just a couple months
We
ago
did.
um in Ecuador. right?
Yes.
So we went to Ecuador. We were looking at, with one of our partners, Anna's
Mhm.
circle, um, and we were visiting some church planters, and it was quite a different viewpoint for us as women ministers.
Very much.
Yeah. And what were your biggest observations about the women there? The church planting efforts, the difference between the growth of the church and internationally and the growth of the church in the US. You know, you've been involved in this type of ministry for a long time. You're a part of a church plant now, and
Mhm.
you really got to see some behind the scenes things. So we visited primarily women church planters. So tell me about what you observed while we were there.
I will tell you one of my biggest perspective shifts was the fact that women could plant churches. Honestly, when you first came to me with this, I'm going to be real.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's lost her marbles. I will not. I will
Yeah.
not be a part of that
Yeah.
because my upbringing was such that women do not do that.
Yeah.
But after this trip, in getting a better understanding of what planting a church really is, I'm now like, why not? Why aren't we planting men and women
Yeah.
should be planting churches all over the place. The biggest thing I learned was how much more mobile we can be and more effective we can be when we're smaller
Mm.
versus bigger. And I'm not knocking the huge
Sure.
churches, they have their places, but just how more impactful in a
Mm.
community in the real everyday lives of those people that these women, primarily women church planners we saw, they knew everything about those coming to their church,
Mm.
everything about them. And it was such joy, and they had such little. I mean, they're meeting in these, we're basically
Yeah.
sitting on each other's laps
Yeah.
some of the times, and they are coming out of the woodwork to hear about Jesus
Yeah.
and how Jesus can fulfill their lives, and what they can do for Jesus, and the multiplication that comes out of these
Mm.
little places is just amazing to me.
Yeah.
And the joy that each one of them had without big beautiful buildings and all the stuff.
All the things, all the
All the
production.
yeah, and the music, and it's simple music. And anyway, it was beautiful to watch and go, "Oh my goodness. This is it.
Mm.
This is how we move quicker.
We're more agile,
This is how
less
we change
cumbersome.
things faster."
Mm. Yeah, and to be honest, I didn't know that's what we were gonna do. Like, I
Right.
mean, we had talked about some of those things before, and I was like, okay, it had been like a year ago. I was like, I wonder if there's something to this in a conversation I was having. I brought it to you, and you're like, no. I'm like, that's fine, because unity has been the key
Yes.
focus of our relationship and
Mhm.
what is happening at Worthy. So we don't really move without agreement over
Right.
something. So there was no trickery, right? We were
No.
both listening to the Lord. Are we
Mhm.
supposed to go? And I wrestled, like I didn't sleep the whole week we were there because I was like wrestling with some things. What am I seeing? What are you calling us to? What are you doing, Lord? And then we get to that last day, and you and I, there was like something that broke, I think. And after that, I think I was able to talk, you were able to talk, and it wasn't that there was anything between us, but the Lord was certainly stirring something in me that I didn't expect.
Right.
That I had, and then he was stirring something in you, and you were
Right.
like, "Oh man, I'm ready to jump off a cliff." And I was like, "Whoa."
Let's go.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
wasn't sure exactly what, I still don't know what all of that means, but there was
Right.
something significant that we saw there that was shifting, and within that amount of time, I had seen it in Africa and then seen it in
Mm.
South America, and grieved, I think, is where we sat,
Mm.
right? We were
Mhm.
like, why isn't this coming to the Church of the US?
Right.
Why is it so cumbersome
Right.
to do the things in the will of God? And certainly there's a lot to unpack there. Certainly there's a lot to learn and consider and understand.
Mm-hmm.
But this mobilization of women doing what they've always done, having women in their house.
My mom.
That's it.
My mom, I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, my mom was a church planter, and she didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And she was just following the call of God to love women.
And who was going to tell her that?
Right. Nobody told her.
No. It's
She
like,
just knew
yeah.
from the Holy Spirit that
Yeah.
this was what's supposed to happen.
But even making those connections of this, what you're doing here in your home, this moving the table out of the way and dancing, this
Right.
gathering together every week. We call that small group. And I guess the question is, why do we do it that way? Which they end up being very, I don't know, they don't mobilize.
Because they're still small of a part of the big.
Yeah.
Instead of, and I'm not negating those either because they have their place, but small and mobile with a different vision, same vision to multiply and to spread the word of God and to
Advance the
develop
kingdom.
spiritual formation
Yeah.
and things like that. It's so important. But then we get caught up in, does it fit with the program? And if it doesn't fit with the program, then, or if your group looks different from this group,
Then we don't
then
allow
we
it.
don't allow it. So,
know.
I don't want to get into all of that because, man, I could stand on a soapbox and preach about it now, but which is so different from where I would have been. But
Yeah.
It's smaller,
It's smaller, more agile.
more agile. Yeah,
I think we're getting to a place, and I know we're still discovering this, still understanding the implications of what happened to us while we were there, because it was like the Holy Spirit moving. I know that we've got to kind of close out our time here. I have one more question because I don't mean to leave it on a cliffhanger, but I think this is really the reality of where we're sitting. We're sitting
we
in
don't
this
know
place
what's
of
next.
Yeah. And we're going,
100%.
what does all this mean? And so we're
Right.
just taking our people with us on that
Right.
journey as we discover. So I want us to close it out, though, and ask you to specifically encourage, when we think about living worthy, how would you encourage the saints today to live worthy?
Okay, so I knew this question was coming, and I mean, I'm trying to make it so succinct so it doesn't turn into a 30-minute deal. Start now.
Ooh, that's pretty
Stop
succinct.
waiting. Stop waiting for the moment. You know what's been planted in your heart. You know what the Lord has given you. Act on it. Quit being afraid. If he's put it in your heart, he will make a way. It may look completely different than what you thought it was going to look like. Listen, I thought I was going to be speaking on huge stages at one time back. That was my goal. That was my dream. And then as time has gone on, my stages have gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. And you know what? I've been more settled and happy than I was before. I love to teach. I love to speak, preach, whatever you want to call it. I love it. And he still lets me do it. But just act, just move on what the Lord is putting in your heart. And if you're not sure how to do it, ask somebody. I got a coach.
Yeah.
I didn't know where to go next.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I've lost every platform I've ever had. But I still have this thing inside of me and I want to do something with it. What do I do? So I found a coach and she helped guide in me and ask me the right questions. I didn't have to meet with her for a year or 2 years or anything. I had to work through some things that were blocking me and I didn't even know they were blocking me. So once those started moving into place, I was like, oh, okay, here we go. So that's how you live worthy. That's how you live to your calling, is you just have to move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So faith without works is dead. So,
Right.
Yeah. Thank you, Debbie, for encouraging us. I love that last bit, to just start, to do something, be courageous, take a step towards the thing God is calling you to do. Thank you for that. I love you.
I love you.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.